Well, mate, James Bresnahan here. The lead, that was the one that got away.
Oh, yeah, probably James. We couldn't defend well enough in that last quarter. We leaked too much score out of our stoppage, and then we couldn't defend it in the back end. So, yeah, extremely disappointing. But there was a lot to take away. 10 goal kickers, the way we played the game for the majority of the game. Overall, there's a huge amount of uplift for us in what we delivered today.
Highest score of the season as well. The players look pretty gutted and drained. What was your message to them?
Oh, I haven't spoken to them, but they should be. Yeah, they should be gutted. We've got to learn probably that stage of growth for us. When you get that close and you have that much control, and then what we need to do when you do, knowing that good teams are going to bounce back at you. From that side of things, I thought we responded extremely well in the third quarter and wrestled control of the game back as we did in the second, and then unfortunately we weren't able to do that in the last. So there's some good things out of that we'll take away and we'll learn from.
I guess your learning and development didn't include a draw. How will you handle that?
Well, sometimes it does. I mean, it's probably the manner in the way we went about the game. I think, it's a massive tick for us in the manner that we finished before we went to the bye, and then to step up and, get into the second half of the season. We wanted to make a little statement ourselves in the way that we went about it. So I think that's a tick for us today. It is. It's disappointing to win. Don't get me wrong. I'm not very happy about it, but there are lots of areas within what we displayed and showed today that is moving us forward.
Right, and so the best takeaway from today?
I think the manner in how we managed the game early on, I think, mate, in those first sort of three quarters. I love the fact that we got challenged and then we were able to sort of steady and then move back into the rhythm of how we wanted to control the game. The mechanisms of one, being able to score, and two, being able to defend. They were the elements that we really liked. Again, for reasons, that we couldn't stop in that last quarter. And look, great credit to Leon and GWS. They were just coming at a rate of knots. So, the credit to them. They're probably as disappointed as we are to not feel like they could pinch one right at the end. But it was probably the manner in how we went about it for 3 and a bit quarters.
How were you, with the moment that Daniel Lloyd got that ball, like right in the last few seconds, and had that shot at goal? How were you feeling right in that moment?
Bit numb. Bit numb. There's not much you can do at that point. You've just got to try and hang on. So, that's how it goes sometimes.
Okay, I'll open up for someone else to ask a question.
Just on, Tarrant's return there as well. What did you make of his game?
I thought Robbie was okay. He was under some huge pressure, at certain phases of the game. He's had a long time out, so we don't anticipate that he's going to be back to his best, straight off the bat. So he's got to work into now the mechanism with Ben being down there and Jack's being there and then Hall's back there. So there's a slightly different crew maybe than what he's worked with previous, Ethan. So, I think he handled himself reasonably well, and, it was great to have him back. But particularly off not having played, of a sustained period of time. We couldn't get a VFL game away last week. So for him to do the extra work and get back in there was a credit to himself.
What was sort of your message to the team directly afterwards? Have you had a chance to speak to them as yet?
No, mate. No, I haven't spoken to them. They're doing recovery now, and I'll get to them, I don't know, probably about 20 minutes or so, I dare say.
Thanks.
It's one of those games, although it finished as a draw at the end, I mean, given where you were, does it feel like a loss? And or are you kind of, I suppose, happy that you do come away with 2 points rather than none? I mean, is it consequential?
Yeah, it's one of those ones, isn't it, Andrew? It's like one normally feels like they may have won and the other one feels like they've lost. So, look, it's definitely bittersweet. There's no doubt. I think, as James was saying before, the fact we were unable to manage the game enough in the last few minutes to get the win. We felt we played well enough through most of the day to sort of manage the game and get ourselves into a winning position. And then there's the disappointment of not being able to understand those little things that we need to do. And they're not major things, but they're more of the predictable fundamentals that I think you just need to execute when the things get tough and they get tight. So they're the little areas that we've got to go to work on. So a bit mixed, I think, for us. The players, I think as you looked at the players coming off the ground, they're disappointed. So they probably feel like it was, maybe more of a loss than it was a draw.
You talk about the fundamentals you got to get right under pressure. Is sort of Jai Simpkins' kick at the end and kicking out the full one of those examples, even though he played a pretty good game overall.
Yeah, well, Hawley was another one, mate. I don't think it was just Jai on his own. I think there were a few times where just the surety of taking the ball, not ending up on the ground. The game ended up being a bit slippery towards the end, so holding your feet, maybe using the boundary line for a little bit more stoppage. I certainly wouldn't single Jai out on his own. I think we had a number of those minor errors, you would probably call them, but in tight games where things need to be a little bit more predictable and probably a little bit safer to just sort of manage the ball and control the game a bit more, yeah, they're the ones that we need to understand and learn from next time we get into that position.
Thanks,
David. You aren't shy of throwing Kane Turner a tough challenge, and certainly didn't shirk his task today against one of the most dangerous forwards in the league.
You're right, Jonathan. We've got great confidence in Kano. He's a tough player, Toby. He's got great qualities. He's a tough competitor, as is Kano, and that's why we love him so much. He will just give us everything he's got until he hasn't got any more left to go. I thought he held up really well, competed strongly throughout the game. We got a little bit lucky that Toby didn't get more accurate, but I thought he did a great job.
And there might be if you can continue that type of play like you did today, you'd hope there's a few more wins on the horizon for you, David.
I think so, Jonathan. It's we haven't. Sounds funny. We haven't set a task necessarily or a target for the back end of the year. More around wanting to win each game we step into. But again, we're heavily cemented on the process. We understand, and I think that's solidified again for ourselves today in the manner and the length of time that we're able to do that. The character I think that we learned and built today was wrestling it out. So, yeah, we feel if we can bring that to our games each week, then we're going to give everybody a run for their money.